I'm gonna open a bar and I need a liquor license, I can't get that liquor license with a criminal record, any kind of criminal record. Do you think the government will be the same way concerning cannabis?
Well, let me ask you this. You can't get a liquor license today because of a criminal background, but when prohibition was first lifted, could you then? So let's apply the same principles to cannabis. We've got to come out of the dark ages. We're effectively lifting a prohibition on cannabis. Why are we doing that? Because we want to decriminalize it so that you don't have a black market, so you don't have criminal elements in there. Well, how do you do that? You bring those people into the legal market. You can't bring them in if you're going to not allow them in because they have a criminal record. Yeah. The federal government is coming out with regulations that effectively are mirroring supply chain management in how they award licenses. So you can get a license to cultivate, you can get a license to process, you can get a license to sell where it's not regulated provincially. So that's going to be cut out. And I think there's many people and some of the companies we heard from tonight that are focused on that framework. But if you talk about sleeper, you've got to take it a little bit beyond that and say, what will people be demanding in a cannabinoid type product 3 to 4 to 5 years from now? Is it going to be some kind of edible? Is it going to be some other delivery form? Is it going to be alcohol-infused, cannabis-infused alcohol? Is it going to find its way into tobacco? Those are the kinds of sleeper things that I would be looking at.
So if supply chain performance and supply chain regulatory performance is number one, what's stopping Big Tobacco and Johnson & Johnson from blowing everybody out of the water?
There's nothing stopping them. The reality is that even in our industry, Big Pharma can blow us out of the water once they get a hold of this. Reality is that Big Tobacco can blow out smokable forms of cannabinoids, and Big Alcohol can blow out infused drinks. So there's nothing stopping them. I think that when you look at some of the large LPs, they recognize that. So that's why the rush to be the biggest, because the bigger you are, the more you're able to withstand sort of an onslaught from tobacco. Their challenge is going to be how do you brand it properly. So even if you look at tobacco, even if you look at alcohol, their restrictions aren't the same as strict as it is on cannabinoids, on cannabis. So the challenge is going to be how do you get ahead of the game, build a brand before Big Tobacco or Big Alcohol gets in.
Would it be worth building a brand hoping that Du Maurier buys you or Jackson Triggs buys you?
That's a very viable strategy, a very viable growth strategy. For sure. When you say marijuana imported into Canada, recognize that there's going to be demand from producers, demand from consumers on pushing prices down. So Colombia claims to produce it at less than 50 cents a gram. Lesotho, we call it Lesotho, who are we in discussions with some suppliers there as well, claim to do it even less than that. Unless we in Canada could get down to a price point that they're able to achieve in places like Colombia or South Africa, there's always going to be a desire to import a cheaper product. We can't, in the old days, prescribe a bag of weed with any sense of confidence on managing a treatment plan. Number one, because we don't know when you smoke it how it's going to react in your body. Number two, the batch of weed that you're buying today could be very different from the harvest or the batch of weed you're buying tomorrow. What we're focused on is giving them that consistency so that every time a doctor prescribes our product, whether it be today or 3 months from now, it's the same product.